Let me ask you something strange. What would you do if one morning, before you even opened your eyes, your body buzzed with a warning? Not from stress, not from panic, but from your breathing quota running low. That was my reality today. The notification hovered in my vision. Alert! You've used 88% of your monthly breath allocation. Upgrade plan to avoid respiratory interruptions. And just like that, something I've done since the moment I was born was no longer free. It wasn't always this way. A few years ago, clean air was just taken for granted. You'd breathe, complain about the pollution maybe, slap on a filter mask if you were downtown, but it was still yours. Yours to waste, yours to gulp, yours to sigh with. Then came the crisis, the wildfires, the toxic fog, the rising asthma deaths, and the corporations stepped in. Let us manage the air, they said. We'll protect it, clean it, distribute it fairly. That's when they launched OxyCorp. And that's when we signed our lungs away. At first, it sounded noble. Free air plans for everyone, a government partnership, a promise that no one would ever run out. They called it basic respiration access. You got a limited amount of clean, breathable air piped through filters embedded in your home, your car, your school, your workplace. Everywhere else, you had to rely on the natural atmosphere, which after a few years became virtually unbreathable. They didn't create the crisis, but they sure learned how to monetize it. At first, it was small things, discounts on air if you watched sponsored ads, bonus oxygen credits if you posted good citizen messages online. A friend of mine got upgraded because he wrote a trending tweet thanking OxyCorp for making the future breathable. That tweet got him 6 extra hours of high-efficiency breathing. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's when I stopped trusting the air around me. Then came the micro-inhalers. Tiny devices you wore just under the nose. They filtered the air and reported how much oxygen you consumed, how fast you were breathing, whether your intake was excessive under the current social circumstances. If you ran, it logged it. If you got nervous during a date, it logged it. If you had a panic attack, which ironically became more common once the app started warning people they were over-breathing, it really logged that. Some people stopped talking too much in public, not to conserve breath, but because exhaling mid-sentence started to cost more. I remember laughing at a joke once, a real belly laugh, the kind that hurts your ribs. My wristband beeped mid-laugh. Excessive respiratory expenditure. That was the day it hit me. We weren't just paying for air, we were paying to be human. When the premium plans launched, they sold them like health perks. Oxy++ includes access to filtered oxygen streams, emergency override during physical exertion, and a Calm Breath TM booster for emotional regulation. Calm Breath was a scam. You press the button and it slowly reduces your air intake just enough to make you dizzy. So you think you've calmed down. People pay extra to feel lightheaded and call it peace. I knew a woman who lost her job and couldn't afford her top-up. She didn't die. That would have caused outrage. She just faded. The air didn't go away. It just got thinner. She couldn't concentrate. Started forgetting things. Her body ached. She cried once, and that drained her quota for the day. Eventually, she applied for OxyAid, a government assistance program that gives you just enough air to function. Suboptimal, but survivable, the app says. She hasn't smiled since. Now here's the twisted part. There's still plenty of air on Earth. It's just not allowed to be used without permission. All the filters, all the smart sensors, all the nano valves in vents and doors and elevators, they regulate where air flows, how fast, and to whom. If your plan's expired, the sensors shut off airflow in that room. If your rating drops below 3.0, your breathing app switches to oxygen moderation mode. You don't suffocate. That would make them villains. Instead, you just can't breathe deep, can't run, can't sigh, can't feel. You live on shallow breaths until you upgrade. And guess who gets unlimited breathing? The corporate class, the politicians, the influencers who smile and say, "You know, I love my breath bank. I feel seen when my inhalation is optimized." They talk like air is a skincare product. Sometimes I dream of trees, big, wild forests, no monitors, just deep gulps of real oxygen. But then I remember, dreams take oxygen too. They call it REM taxation, because the brain burns energy, and energy needs air. So if you dream too long, your meter ticks up. Some people now pay for Sleep Light TM. It's a plan that reduces dream activity so you breathe less while sleeping. The dreams fade, but so do nightmares, so do memories, so does everything. Last week, a protester hacked into one of the city's air servers, turned it off for 60 seconds, not to hurt anyone, just to remind us that the system wasn't natural, that someone controls the air. They called it terrorism, charged him with intentional atmospheric disruption. His breathing plan revoked permanently. He's still alive, but only indoors, connected to a government-approved air unit. He's not allowed to speak above a whisper now. And that brings me to this. When did we decide that breathing was a privilege? When did we accept that our most basic function, the act of simply staying alive, needed a subscription? Because make no mistake, this is where we're heading, not because the air ran out, but because monetization found a way in. Every breath you take now, it's data, it's a commodity, it's currency. So tell me, when the meter starts ticking, when the screen says upgrade or expire, when your chest feels tight and the app says that's just your tier, will you fight? Or will you learn to breathe less and call it normal? If this story shook you, imagine what else they're planning. This isn't just fiction, it's a warning. So if you want more tales like this, stories that blur the line between what is and what could be, subscribe to 205X Stories right now. Like this video to show the algorithm you're still breathing. Share it with someone who thinks air will always be free. And hit that notification bell because the future isn't waiting. It's already here, one update at a time.